Squash can be difficult to grow or even frustrating because you need a male and a female blossom to get squash, but you need both of them to be open at the same time so that the females get pollinated, but squash blossoms are typically only open for one day, then they close up and fall off or fizzle out at night.
So what do you do when you have male blossoms opening up without any female blossoms to pollinate, or you have female blossoms open but no male blossoms to pollinate them? You create a squash sperm bank. I did have a female blossom open up the other day, but there were no males. And this is a female blossom because you can see a little baby squash here at the end, and if it doesn't get pollinated, the squash will just fall off. And the female blossom that I had the other day that didn't get pollinated did fall off. But now, all I am seeing are male blossoms with no female blossoms to be pollinated. If I had both opening up at once, I could let the pollinators or wind take care of it. But what I am going to do is harvest these male squash blossoms, and some people like to fry or cook extra blossoms or even grow squash plants, not even for the squash, but just for the blossoms. But I want squash. So I'm harvesting the male blossoms, and I'm going to put them in a little zip bag. And then I'm going to put them in the fridge to keep them fresher, and then I'll wait for a female blossom to open so I can hand pollinate. It's the next day, and I see another female blossom on the horizon, but there is still nothing to pollinate yet. But I do see more males have opened up, so I will grab these and add them to my squash sperm bank. Well, I have some exciting news. The female flower did open up this morning, so I took my male flowers from the refrigerator so I can go ahead and get this hand pollinated. To hand pollinate, I like to take a cotton swab and take some pollen from what is called the anther in the male flower, and then dab the pollen all over the inside of the female bloom over what's called the stigma here, and that's what we need to make sure enough pollen gets on for this squash fertilization to be successful. Some people will just pull the petals back on the male blooms to get the pollen into the female blossom, but I'm always too afraid I'll damage the female, so I find that the cotton swab works well to gently hand pollinate. And even if I did have some males and females open at the same time, I probably would still hand pollinate them a bit just in case, because while I do grow plants to attract pollinators like bees so that they can pollinate things like my squash plants, I just want to make sure that these squash actually do get pollinated. It has been 2 days since I hand pollinated this female blossom, and you can tell that the actual blossom is dried up and it's going to fall off any day now, and the squash itself looks bigger. So I would say that the hand pollination was a success, and hopefully this will keep growing and I'll have some squash in a couple of months.